This happened way back in 1972. I was 5 years old and I was invited to a neighbor's birthday party. We lived in the quiet suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. The boys' parents pulled out all of the stops to make their son's party one to remember. There was a slow-moving, sad-faced donkey that the smaller children were permitted to ride. I was not allowed to ride the donkey.
I don't know if y'all can hear me or not,
even at age 7. Aside from the usual paraphernalia at a 7-year-old's party, there was a clown. He introduced himself as Pogo the Clown. He walked around
like pogo
silently,
sticks?
dancing and smiling. He would laugh silently too. He would do the old "I got your nose" trick and pull coins out from behind our ears. He made balloon animals and attempted to ride a unicycle. The other kids laughed.
Seems too big to
I
be
hated
doing
the
that.
clown. Everything about him made me uncomfortable. And because of this, my fat 7-year-old self decided to give the clown a hard time. Birthday boy announced out loud that it was time to head inside to see the special clown magic show. All the kids went into the living room and sat on the hardwood floor. I stood in the back. The clown proceeded with the magic show. He pulled a fake rabbit out of his hat and performed other hat tricks as I stood in the back of the room and catcalled him. "You suck! Boo!" I would yell out how the tricks were done. The clown continued to silently smile, making no sound as he went about his magical presentation. His face said happiness, but his eyes screamed in rage at me. This went on for 20 minutes. The kids laughed as the clown fumbled through some crappy dime store magic tricks. I don't know if it was an act of mercy, but the birthday boy's parents shouted, "Piñata time," and all the kids ran outside to smash a cardboard
Every time I
donkey
flinch,
stuffed
by the
with
way,
candy.
every time I flinch,
After a few minutes outside, all of the fruit punch I drank throughout
lose
the
a
day
point.
wanted out. I scurried back into the house in search of the toilet. The house was quiet, and the sun had shifted in the sky, leaving the kitchen and the adjoining hallway bathed in a gloomy evening light. As I walked through the kitchen and into the hall,
I'm not
from
gonna
a
get
room
scared.
in the hall.
Yeah, that didn't scare me. That didn't scare me.
Hello. Ah! What the? Oh, did I scare you, little fella? I stood there holding my heart in my throat. My breath was erratic due to the sudden shock I wasn't expecting. He tilted towards me. His painted smile was unwavering, but his eyes were bloodshot and filled with burning hatred. "What's your name? If you tell me your name, we might become friends." "Stupid clown." I cussed and started walking away, ignoring him.
That's not even a
then,
curse.
I felt
What?
a large hand land on my shoulder. I was spun around forcefully and fell to the floor. The clown stood above me for a moment before putting a giant clown shoe on my fat chest. I struggled and wanted to scream for help, but it never happened. He stood over me, pinning me to the floor. He then took out a can of soda from his pocket and jerked it open, making the bubbles form on the top. He proceeded to spray them on my pants while singing a creepy nursery rhyme. "It's raining, it's pouring, the old man is snoring. He went to bed and bumped his head and couldn't get up in the morning."
That's not the words.
Continued until the contents of the bottle were drained. When he removed his foot from my chest, I lashed
that's
out
not
with
the
my
words.
feet, kicking at his
You
shins and
you
trying
sung
to
it
run
so
away
wrong.
at the same time. I rushed into a pantry and slammed the door. It was really a terrible hiding place. He had to see where I went. The pantry was about 4 feet away from where I was lying on the floor just moments ago. It was dark in the pantry and smelled of old junk. There was no lock on the inside to protect me from the clown. In the dark pantry, I slid to the floor and tried not to sob. Minutes passed. Those minutes felt like hours.
I'm not gonna jump.
I placed my ear on the pantry door. "Let me in, you little piggy! I will show you what I do with kids like you. I think we will be great friends, you know. I will take you to my home. I will bathe you. I will clothe you and also feed you like my child with a silver spoon."
Get a bat.
We will have
Hit
the
him.
best
Get a
times
bat. I
of
would
our
get a
lives.
bat.
Just
Get a
let
gun or
me
a bat or
in.
something. Get
I
something.
started crying and did my best to stop him from entering, but he had way more strength than me. His half-torso was already inside the pantry, and I could see my life flashing in front of my eyes as he kept laughing and struggling. Just then, I heard another kid's voice, and the clown stopped. He moved away, and I slammed the door closed behind him. He was now talking to the other kid. A few seconds later, his footsteps faded away along with the kids. I heaved a sigh of relief, thinking finally he's gone. After coming out to the party area, I went straight to my dad and told him to take me home. I didn't come out of my room for 3 days, and on the 4th day, I heard it from my mom. A kid from the party had gone missing. He was a 6-year-old boy who was last seen playing in the backyard with a clown.
It was the clown.
The creepy thing was that no one knew the real identity of the clown that attended my friend's birthday party. His parents thought the agency sent him, but the agency told the cops someone hammered their guy on his way to the party, and then hid his body behind the bushes after stealing his clown costume.
Bro, why would you hide
The
a
boy who
body
went
behind the
missing
bushes?
was never found. 6 years after that horrible encounter with the clown, I saw his photos on the news. In those photos, he was wearing the same costume he wore that day, but he was no birthday clown. He was a deranged serial killer named John Wayne Gacy, who abducted kids from birthday parties by appearing as a funny clown. My parents were numbed with fear once I told them everything the man did to me and said to me that day. I got saved by an inch from becoming the victim of a notorious serial killer like John Wayne Gacy. The story you just saw is inspired from the horrible crimes done by John Wayne Gacy, more known as the Killer Clown. To many people, John Wayne Gacy was a friendly man who loved to entertain young children. He frequently dressed up as his alter ego, Pogo the Clown, at parties that he hosted for his entire neighborhood. The first warning sign about Gacy appeared in 1964 when he was found guilty of abusing 2 young boys. Gacy was arrested and spent 18 months in prison. On 1978, Gacy murdered a 15-year-old boy who had gone to Gacy's home asking for a job. This time, the cops got involved and searched Gacy's home. They found a class ring, clothing for much smaller individuals, and other suspicious items. Upon further investigation, officers discovered that the ring belonged to a teenage boy who was missing. Later, they found a witness who claimed Gacy had admitted to killing up to 30 people. Gacy was arrested and used an insanity plea in the hopes of a not guilty verdict. The ruse did not work, and he was found guilty. On May 10th, 1994, John Wayne Gacy was executed by lethal injection.
My name is Julia. I'm 9 years old. My family has this really cool house. I love it. There are 2 acres that me and my friends can play on. It's all fenced in, and the rules are we can go anywhere we want, just as long as we stay inside the fence. Then there's the river. It runs right behind the house, and there's a neat sandy area where we can go wading. But we're only allowed to do that if a grown-up is with us.
I like to swim.
Dad says the house used to be a farmhouse.
I would jump over the fence.
I love all
and
of it
literally
except for my closet.
I would have went into the lake.
That. Actually, I guess I should say that I used to hate it. I don't hate it anymore. Not after what finally happened. See, this clown was living in my closet. But now that I think about it, he didn't actually live there. He just showed up there from time to time. And he wasn't a regular clown. Oh, he wore clown clothes, but his face, it still scares me to think about it. He wore this long, distorted, white rubber mask, kind of like Michael Myers from It was really scary. I mean, really, really scary. It was Saturday night.
Bro,
Mom and Dad had just tucked me in. I was just starting to fall asleep.
Yo, I'm gonna get jump scared on this, and I know
my
it.
closet door started to open. Then this hand reached around and got hold of the door and opened it some more. I saw a face. I'm not sure, but I think my heart might have stopped
didn't jump, though.
beating.
I didn't jump.
It was a clown. He didn't do anything, though. He just put his finger to his lips, you know, like he was telling me to shh. Then he looked around the room. I guess he didn't see what he was looking for because he just waved at me and closed the closet door again.
There you go. That's better.
Ah! Mom! Dad! Julia, honey, what's wrong?
Okay, I jumped, but
I had trouble
that
talking. I
scream
was
was
so scared.
loud.
What is it, baby? I pointed at the closet. What? The closet? What about the closet? Clown! I saw a clown! A really, really scary clown! Mom laughed. Julia, honey, there's nothing in the closet. You had a bad dream, that's all. I ignored the matter at that time, but I saw him again, 1 week later. I was rolled over onto my right side. I always go to sleep on my right side.
Bro, why do we ever see these movies?
I was just starting to go to sleep when the closet door squeaked. My eyes shot open.
In the closet.
I pulled my blanket up over my head and then lowered it just enough so I could peek out. It was him again, as ugly as always. He looked at me again, went, shh, looked around my room, then smiled and waved and closed the door. I didn't scream. I didn't do anything. While I was laying there trying to calm down, I thought of something. In all the times I'd seen that clown, he never once tried to do anything bad to me. He never tried to scare me, never tried to hurt me. So what the heck was he doing? And why was he in my closet? After that night, things got a little better. He still showed up. In fact, he started showing up more often. But every time he did, it was exactly like every other time. It actually got a little boring.
It's something that he about to do.
One night, it was raining heavily.
See, now that
I fell asleep
end of
fast
thunder.
that day.
So now
Around
we're
2
getting to the
a.m.,
point.
I
We're
woke
getting to the
up
point where it's
hearing
scary.
my closet door creak. I looked over, and there he was. He raised his finger to his lips. Shh. Then he stooped down to look at something,
I thought he was gonna
just
look.
like always. But tonight was different, way different. He froze. His eyes got wide. Then they got wider. The clown threw the closet door open and came rushing into my room. His mouth was wide open and his teeth looked like something from a monster. He was squinting and his hands were raised over his head. His fingers, with their long, pointy black nails, were curled like claws. As he ran toward my bed, he opened his mouth and screamed. I knew I was going to die. I just knew it. He was going to rip me into tiny little bits and then eat what was left. Yet I couldn't move an inch in shock. The clown raced to the side of my bed and stopped for a second. Then he dropped to his knees, shoved his arms under the bed, and came out with this huge, wriggling, slimy snake, which must have climbed in from the window at the sides of the lake. The clown smashed its head on the floor, then raised it up and smashed it down again. And again and again. He kept smashing the thing on the floor until it went limp. After a few seconds, he looked up at me.
You okay, kid?
He said in a deep voice that sounded kind of like he had gravel in his throat. I couldn't answer him. Heck, I couldn't even think.
Hey, listen, I'm sorry about this. Don't worry about the mess. It'll be gone before your mom comes in the morning. It just dissolves itself away. Might leave a bit of a stain on the rug, though. Sorry, but nothing I can do about that.
I was shaking really bad. All I could do was say, What? The clown reached into his funny colored jacket and came out with a cigar. He held it up.
You mind?
I just stared.
Oh, don't worry, I don't smoke them. Just sucking on one gives me my nicotine fix. Calms me down. I gave up actually smoking them about 20 years ago, but I just can't kick them entirely. Bad habit, I know, but hey, nobody's perfect, right?
The clown peeled the plastic wrapper off the cigar and stuck it between his pointy teeth. I kept staring, my mouth hanging open.
I guess you're a little weirded out, huh?
I slowly nodded.
Yeah, typical. Don't feel bad. Pretty much every kid I've ever saved has reacted the same way as you.
Saved?
Who are you? He said, shaking his head.
I'm Wrinkles. Wrinkles the clown. I'll have to leave now.
After that night, I saw Wrinkles only once. One day, a homeless man tried to abduct me on my way to school. The moment the man grabbed my hand, something happened to him. He started coughing blood and died on the streets, choking.
Oh, that's why they
When the
have it like
cops
that,
were taking me back home, Wrinkles came out of this alley and waved at me. One last time, he put his finger on his lips and said,
Shh.
Don't play with me. Don't play with me.
The story you just saw is loosely based on this home security footage found on Reddit. In this footage, you can see a little boy sleeping on his bed. The first few seconds, nothing happened. But then, slowly, the storage box attached to his bed starts moving. Slowly, the box opens up, and a weird-looking clown can be seen hiding inside it.
Dude sat up like the dead man, the Undertaker or something like
The
that.
clown lays like this for a few seconds, trying to configure if the kid is awake or not. Once he's sure, he comes out.
First of all, how did he even fit in there?
He then watches the kid sleep and then walks to the home security camera. Before his motives could be understood, the clown disables the camera and stops the recording. People who have seen this claim the clown is named Wrinkles, and many kids are scared of him. There's various urban legends about this clown, but no one knows if this video is really some guy playing a prank or a killer hiding in a clown costume.
I was 12, and my family had moved to the house where my mother had grown up. Across from our house was an old church, and through one of the side windows, I saw it, a clown. Now, when I say clown, I don't mean some weird dude dressed up hiding out somewhere waiting to scare any passerby. No, it was one of those animatronic ones people put out around Halloween. I couldn't make out any of its features, being far from my window, but from where I was standing, I could tell it was fake. My mom saw what I was looking at as we both stood next to the car parked in our driveway.
You know, when I was a little girl, that was the church I went to with Grandma and Grandpa.
She said,
Why is that clown in there?
Who knows? Probably just forgot it there after Halloween.
when I got home from school the next day, I was alone at the time. Mom wasn't back from work yet. I was about to let myself in when I looked back over at the church. The clown was still there, but it wasn't where it had been the day before. It was standing in front of the middle window now. It had moved. I walked across the street and got a better look at the clown. It was about average height, with a rainbow-styled suit alternating red and white stripes that shined like silk in the daylight. It wore a white bow around its neck, with 3 large red pom-poms in front with massive red ruby shoes covering its feet. Its face and hands were gray and looked like they had been fashioned out of modeling clay, with bumps and wrinkles all over. Its scraggly red hair exploded out of the back of its head except where it was bald on the top, and it had a piercing stare to its jaundiced yellow eyes, like it looked right into my soul. It stared and smiled with its mouth full of square teeth. It wore a cardboard sign on its chest with words that looked like they had been written in red marker. The words said, "Hug me." A single thought went through my mind at that moment. Why the hell would anybody leave this in a church? The next day, while I was waiting for the bus to pick me up, I stole a glance over at the church. The clown had moved again. This time, it was in the window closest to the church's front door. The next few days passed without any extra excitement. School went by quick. It wasn't until Friday after school that I noticed something was different again. I had gotten off the bus when I did what now had become routine for me. I looked over at the church and saw the clown, still in the same window. But even from the edge of my driveway, I could tell something had changed. I cautiously walked over, and as I got closer, the differences stood out even more. It looked a foot taller, maybe more so. Its once normal legs now looked like long stilts. Its arms and fingers looked like they'd grown with its wrist, and knuckles bent at odd angles, now pointed at the window. But its face was the worst part. Its eyes looked wider and its teeth looked more knife-like and pronounced. My subconscious brain was picking up all of it. It looked meaner. A shiver ran down my spine as I turned with haste to make my way back home. Never looking back once, I decided to stay up that night and watch the church, watch the clown. I wanted to see if it was moved by someone. I had to catch that person in the act. I faked going to bed and sat down quietly by my window. Even in the dim lighting of the night, I could still make out the shape of the clown. I don't know what time I had fallen asleep, nor did I remember laying down on the floor up against my bedroom wall. I woke up slowly with my head in a semi-daze, and I instinctively peered out the window. It took me a few moments to focus, but then I saw something that immediately sent me into panic mode. The front door of the church was open, and the clown was nowhere to be seen. I went to get up and I heard a noise that sounded like stairs creaking. The steps that lead to our upstairs did creak, albeit not enough to wake someone up if they knew where to step. My first thought was maybe my mom had stayed late and was finally making her way up. I hadn't checked the actual time yet. Then I heard it again and again. Someone was coming up the stairs. Not Mom, not Dad. Then who was it? Suddenly, the footsteps stopped. I sat. A few silent seconds passed.
Sit down.
What is he doing?
Do something.
Soon I could make out another distinct sound. The doorknob to my room was being turned. I sat there on the floor, my gaze now focused and eyes better adapted to the darkness. I could clearly see the knob being turned and my bedroom door being inched open. My heart skipped a beat. Someone's trying to get inside my room. I screamed.
Who's there?
Whoever was on the other side of the door stopped. Pin dropped silence. I turned my head towards the church. I must have fainted when I woke up. My mom was on my side. She asked me if I had a bad dream last night. I didn't tell her anything because who would believe me? After that night, I never saw the clown again. The creepy animatronic was also gone the next morning. No one knows who moved it, but something at the back of my head keeps telling me the animatronic had become alive. Beware of finding it hanging outside your window tonight.
That clown's scary. That was it. There was no meaning behind it. There was no true story. Anyway, whatever. All right. Well, that's the end of the video. If you guys like it, please subscribe, like, and comment if the comments are turned on. And, yeah, I really have nothing else to say, but in October, there's going to be a lot more videos like this, because, you know, Halloween, October and stuff, and, yeah, I know I stopped, doing reaction videos, ever since the WWE reaction that I did, so, yeah. But yeah, there's gonna be more videos like this in October, so, yeah, I'm out. FCG, peace, and stay safe.